where we're gonna work together on some animations. Yeah, for something that I'm actually quite excited about. I'm working on a tutorial about overlap, drag, and follow-through action. And yeah, this is the thing that I'm gonna show in the tutorial that is coming out soon, hopefully tomorrow. But I also want to create some additional animation to demonstrate overlap and follow-through animation at work. So yeah, additionally, I need to create some animated examples, and you know, making animation takes time, so I'm taking the time now here on stream to animate some examples for follow-through and overlap and drag. Some very important animation principles to make your animation look physically believable and interesting, and they just add this nice level of detail to it. There's something satisfying about seeing follow-through animation like this one. So before we jump in, let me set a couple of things up. If there's anybody already here, please let me know if you can hear me okay, if the music is too loud, or you know, stuff like that. Just need to make a couple clicks to get everything set up, and then we can jump right into animating some more follow-through animation things. Just here. And yeah. Oh, the internet connection doesn't seem to be so stable. Ah. The stream doesn't seem to be running so smooth, if I see this correctly. Let me know, anyone, if we're having problems with this stream. The thing is, I'm also... Oh yeah, the stream does seem to be lagging. I see that right now. That is not good if it would look like it does on my preview monitor. So please let me know if this stream is okay or if it's lagging a lot. And I'll see what I can do to fix it. Also not quite sure why I don't see the chat here. Yeah, the thing is that today I'm for the first time also recording my screen at the same time because I want to later on use this in a tutorial, and that might not be working as well as I hope it would. So let's try this again, playing something in the background. Yeah, the first animation that I want to do is, you know, everybody always thinks about cloth when they're thinking about follow-through and overlapping animation, or like floppy ears or something like this. But I kind of think it's also very important in body mechanics to understand how that is working. Yeah, so I want to do a character stepping to the right to see how that would look in a character animation, in a body. Yeah, Mr. Creative, we did this on another stream. I already talked about follow-through and overlap animation. Oh, the chat doesn't seem to be updating here. What's going on screen? Let me see if I can do something about that. There. Maybe it's now displaying the chat stuff. So I'm going to switch to a new layer. And what I want to do is I just want to have some like generic stick figure kind of person. Very simple. And have it make a step to the right. Hi Darren T, nice to see you. really great live stream that you did. Everybody check out Darren T's YouTube channel. First of all, he has really great stuff about OpenToonz, like he's the OpenToonz expert. And he did the simple animation exercise that I suggested for practicing easing. And that was a lot of fun. And people from his community also started doing the exercise. That was really cool. Oh, we have the funny, spooky music here first. Okay, so I want to have a character standing, and one very important thing about character standing is that we rarely are super symmetric like this. You know, this is a very boring, a stand that doesn't tell you anything, that doesn't communicate anything. And it's also not physically accurate. Like usually we would distribute the weight differently. Like we would stand more on one leg. And what this does is it shifts your whole hip over to one side, over to the side that you're leaning on. So to create a better stance, let's put this one aside. Hello PB Sharma and Mr. Creative and Black Pepper Studios. Nice to see you all. So what we would do instead, we would stand more on one leg, and that is usually the one that is being pushed through because it has all the weight being pushed up, and the other... I'm probably exaggerating this a bit too much. We should probably change that later. I just want to show you. You know, here we have the center of gravity directly in the middle. Here we have the center of gravity shifted over a bit. This is a horrible drawing. I really need to do this over. And then the other thing is that you would have like the hips and the shoulders in different angles, and this is called a counter posture. But let's make a nicer drawing. This is really not how it should be. Yeah, survival kit. It's also in the survival kit. What is not in the survival kit? So, let's see. And what I do... Or actually, let's have him lean to the other side. Because I want to have him take a step to the right. So... something like this. You know, let's actually not do the bean shape here. Let's just get rid of these and construct something from two shapes. I think that's always a bit better. Yeah. And gets immediately a lot more life. Hi Mason. Darren, you're using a vector level. Yeah, I'm always using a vector level. I like it so much more than bitmap. I like to just be able to grab single lines and stuff like that. I just prefer that so much. You know what? Let's actually not do the arms, because you know we want to focus on the legs and the head and the upper body. Not quite content with the shapes here yet. All right. Okay. And I think this is a interesting enough stance for like a placeholder thing. Darren T says, I've not seen anyone sketch in vector levels before. Yeah, I don't know, I prefer it. Like I can go just in like this and pick single lines out. I love it. Like those, click, click, going away. And like rotate stuff here. I just love that flexibility in the vector level. Also in my scribbles. If I feel like I want to have a little bit of that bitmap feeling, like one thing that can help you get that a little bit is to make the line a little transparent, because then you know you can do a little bit of like a impression of a like a pencil or something like that. Yeah, so always OpenToonz vector. I always prefer vector, although, you know, filling stuff in OpenToonz sometimes in vector can be a bit tricky. You need to make absolutely sure that you have the lines close to fill something. So let's do another drawing where we contrast how it would look if we just had the character being distributing the weight equally. That would look like this. And isn't that boring? Yeah, I think this drawing shows the difference a bit better. Hey, Soda Pop. Okay, you know what? Let's keep this as a scribble layer. I think I'm going to use this somewhere else too, and just move on to a new layer with this drawing that we're going to be animating. New vector layer. I'm going to keep using vector layers until you all use vector layers. That is my secret agenda here. Current column is hidden. I wanted to copy paste. Oops. I wanted to paste out of this one, copy out of this one, and paste in this one. Okay. So let's do a nice side step. Stepping over to the side kinda thing. All right, okay. So one of the biggest mistakes that you can make with an animation where a character is taking a step is to lift both legs at once. Because if you do that, realistically you would fall. And I don't know, I see that in a lot of beginner animations, like in classes. People would always have both feet kind of like slide over into a position, and yeah, that's usually not what happens. I like giving my stick figures like a little bit of volume. I just feel like that makes such a huge difference to already like feel a little bit. Sodapop says, I've been using raster and vector textures in OpenToonz. I really like the flexibility. Yeah, I mean, that's what it boils down to, right? You need to use the right tool for the right job, and there are different opportunities and different possibilities for both. Okay. So I think this little scribble person is as good as it gets. Hey Taikensaur, greetings from Jamaica. Oh, greetings from Germany. When do you use vector layers and when do you use raster layers? Well, my my distinction is, if you want to have like a lot of effects like with textures or blending or like special brushes that are supposed to look like oil or watercolor or even like charcoal or stuff like that, then usually bitmap layers have better bitmap brushes to support that. And also, if you like want to have a painterly look and blend colors like in a very traditional painterly fashion, then bitmap layers is usually the better choice. If you want something to have very clear outlines, then I really recommend bitmaps, because vector, because you know vector lines are usually clear. There are some software can do like soft vector lines or textured vector lines. I think even OpenToonz can do that. But they tend to reveal like the pattern. Like if you use them a lot in vector layers, you tend to see the texture. So I prefer to work in vector if I just want to have clear outlines that don't blend, that are just, you know, the outline is there. And then you have all the advantages of vector layers, that you can just click on single areas of your drawing, select precise strokes or just a bunch of strokes, you know, like here. This would be a lot more difficult to do with bitmap, to like tweak around in this drawing. So I don't know, that's why in most projects where I have a clean outline with no blending, with no softness, I choose vector. Mr. Creative asks, what are the departments you worked in the animation industry? Let's see, I've worked as a... Well, I mean, obviously I've worked as a 2D animator. I've worked as an animation supervisor. I've worked in the layout department of a TV series, which was kind of fun, preparing the shot files for the other animators and, like, you know, getting rigs into it and doing like very, very rough posing and camera work to prepare what the animators would do. And I would actually also do rigging on this job. So yeah, I've worked as a harmony rigger at that same production. I have rigged in Spine for game productions. I often also slide like in the production department because I like making plans and schedules and stuff like that, and try to keep an overview with like project management software and stuff like that. So I often slide into the producer role if there's no good producer already on the team. Because believe it or not, some projects start without anyone estimating anything or thinking about, I mean, people think about budgets, but, you know, realistically estimating how long is this gonna take, stopping the time and looking at that and analyzing that and stuff like that. So yeah, I always try to make productions a little orderly in that sense so that we can actually get it done. And people are usually thankful when I take this over. Because, you know, there are a lot of animators who just want to animate, and I understand that. That's cool. I've written stories. I don't know. It's like probably like most animators. You jump around in a lot of departments. Alrighty. So now let's do a very classic blocking here. I want to pull the character over. Let's put on onion skin. There. So yeah, I want to do like an anticipation going into the other direction first. And this kind of enables us to lift up the leg. Nah, let's not lift it up too high. That's also a thing that always happens to me with like physical action animations, that I lift the leg up far too early, far too much. So we have this reversal, and maybe because this exercise, you know, the whole thing is about follow through and overlap, why not let's have the chest be a lot more in the direction where it came from. It has to rotate a little bit, obviously, but yeah, and the head that didn't really move yet. Okay, so let's flip through that actually. Yeah, I like that. Okay. Next one. Iliad says, when I try to open OpenToonz, it starts, but then it's not working. And I try to uninstall and reinstall 2 times. Have you updated your graphic card driver? I always find this is a thing that works with OpenToonz. Like a lot of times people have trouble with it, and it can get fixed with reinstalling the graphic driver. Yeah, but unfortunately there are some combinations where it doesn't quite work so well. Alright, now we have the moment where we really take the step. I think this is gonna be like, we're exaggerating it a bit too much, I think. This is gonna be a very wobbly step. But why not, you know? It's also fun. It's not too bad though, I like it. Lifting up the... Nice. Okay, now for the actual step. You know what we could do? We could actually just do it with the hip first. So the hip would come over. And settle as the first element. And maybe there's a little bit of like an overshoot, so it goes down first and then it goes up. So now we have the hip planned out. It goes to the left, comes over in like an upwards arc, dips down. It could actually be a downwards arc. I think that would be better. Yeah, and this whole thing is like a swooping arc. Darren says, if you can't exaggerate in animation, when can you? Exactly. We're all here to have fun. Okay, so this is not really arcing yet. This is not really arcing yet because I could do this a little bit higher and this one a little bit lower. And this will really give us like the arc that we're looking for. Whoop. Yeah, if Mr. Creative says try some animation in Krita. I have used Krita before. I love the brushes. Like if you're looking for a free bitmap software that has cool brushes, Krita is the one to go to. I'm realizing that for a tutorial, if we're really gonna turn this into a tutorial, I probably should work a little more orderly. Like, you know what? Let's plan our end pose, and I would say for the end pose, the character, the character stands on. You know what? We should actually do this a little more orderly. I like the drawings that we did, but let's just put them aside for now. So, what I want to do is I really want to plan only like the main storytelling beats, and the necessary storytelling beats would be, we have, maybe let's put the anticipation in there. Maybe this one. Let's think about the poses that we need to tell the story that he's taking a step. I think there are only like 4. What happened here? I wanted to have this one, put it over here. Okay. So. The next one we need is the position of the step where he's going to end up in. And the moment where he lets go of the other foot. And here, he's still leaning back. and dip down. Because, you know, whenever you have a distance between your legs, you're usually always lower. And then last but not least, we have the character being a lot higher. And this is the end position that we're gonna take. And here again, we have the counter posture. Hey, Farimata. Sodapop says OpenToonz is magical because you can do lots of high graphical creation, yet it is light, solid like Clip Studio. Yeah. So let's do the counter posture thing again. Okay. I'm always impressed how just a bunch of good key drawings, they can already do so much of your animation. Like, people are always going into in-betweens too early, I feel like. So crazy how much I always work on my scribbles. Like, but I don't know, they are the foundation for your animation, and you need to build the animation on a solid one. Ah, thank you, Sartak. Found you on YouTube yesterday. Pretty good content. Thank you, that's great to hear. Let me know if you're interested in any topics that you would like me to cover, and I'll see what I can do. Sodapop says OpenToonz is now compatible to load in TV Paint format and After Effects and Clip Studio with the new nightly update. That's great. I never mind moving around between software, like even in the same production. If you have shots that are easier to do in one software rather than the other, why not use a different software just for a couple shots or two? Nice. Okay, the only thing that I don't like is this leg here. This is like doesn't really... Oh boy, too many drawings. I feel like this would still be like this, still be tilted in the other direction. And you know what? This could actually be straight. Maybe not. Yeah, thank you, chat, for answering that. Yes, Janu, we are working in OpenToonz. Clipdome. About your comment regarding going into in-betweens too quickly, I 100% agree with you. In fact, it's a problem I have myself, so I always end up with subpar art and animation. Yeah, it can really make a difference. Are we even staying roughly on the same height? Yes, we are. You know what? We can overshoot this even more. Why not? And then I get my extended leg that I wanted. If we do it like this... Oh, oops. Drawing in this one. You know what? Let's just have him slide the leg over. Why not? I'm thinking of starting animation. What are the skills I must have to begin with? Well, if it's 2D animation, it definitely helps to know how to draw. For 3D animation, it also helps if you know a little bit about anatomy and stuff like this. And yeah, I don't know, you need to be curious about acting and psychology and cinematography, choreography. That's the thing about animation, it's such a wide field with many different aspects, also depending on the kind of animation that you want to do, you know, maybe you want to do more action scenes, maybe you want to do more effects animation, maybe like acting, character stuff is what interests you most. Like, you know, animation is not the same. A lot of different people have different specializations and... Oh, playing it is too... Okay, let's make sure that the foot stays planted. I hate when foots slide. Yeah, and these are our storytelling keyframes. Like, this is all we need to understand. We need to understand that there was one step completed, and the second step where the second leg is lifted into the air. And these are like the storytelling poses that we need. Sartak suggests learning the human body and how it works is a good start in animation. Motions and gestures of the body. Yeah, and body language is one of my favorite topics. All right. So after we've done the storytelling key poses, the next thing that I would like to do would be actually, let's do the breakdown next, because I think that's really important. And the most important breakdown that we have is here. Namely, it's the way over. And what I would like to do on the way over is to already have the foot completely over on that side. And it's a breakdown because the hip is just passing through. Now, because it's a follow through, we want to make sure that the chest is still far behind, because we want to have this very clear that the chest is following. And this should make our this should make our animation a lot more clear too. Yeah, and now I have the step clear, you know? It's so important that the feet are planted when they need to be planted. Hydemet asked to use a pen tablet or a pen display. I'm working on a Cintiq 24 HD, so I'm working on a display. Lorenzo asked, I'm impressed how studios managed to make 20 minutes happen in just 1 week. Or am I getting something wrong? No. It's taking way longer than 1 week. Like, I mean, you must think about it. A Simpsons episode cost $1 million to make. 1 million. That's a lot of work hours. And Yeah, usually production times are pretty long. If you have a series, they would produce all the episodes first before they start airing one. Oh boy. I'm realizing that this is far too much to record for a tutorial just during a live stream. Look at just what is happening with the hip, like how it's... Like, see how the hip is being lifted up when he lifts the... When he lifts the leg, stepping over, and then it dips down. The hip dips down because all this weight is suddenly put on it, and then the leg presses the weight up again. There. Really important. I think I have to leave this animation just with that. Let's put it on force and see how that looks. Yeah, can you feel the follow through though? I really like how the different elements come to a stop at a different time. Let's maybe add one more here. And then that is enough for the follow through tutorial that I'm recording at the moment. So this is now coming up because it's being pressed up. And pressing up usually means that it is pretty strongly already in the frame before. Let's have this leg behind. There we go. I'm gonna get back to the chat in a second. I just wanna focus on this right now for a second. I like these moments in animations where you can be a little bit off balance. So here the chest is reaching almost its end position already. There. And the head is still on the break down. Yeah. I think this is nice. And you can see the follow through, right? You can see how, or better, the overlap, how the foot is making contact first, then the hips come over, then the shoulders settle, and then the head. Let's actually make it more clear with the shoulders already being in the end position. Let's just trace them. Let's just trace the green lines and have it already be in the final position. Yeah. Okay, so let's see what was going on in the chat. Lorenzo says, I just started animating and it takes a hell lot of time to get just 10 seconds done. Yeah, that is normal. That is the thing with animation. Takes a lot of time and a lot of, like, you know, usually a team of people to get a substantial amount of story done. How long does it generally take to make a 1 minute duration of a simple cartoon animation? Like larva? What is that? Let me look it up. Oh, I mean, larva is 3D animation, and as soon as you dip into 3D animation, you need to model something, you need to rig it, you need to texture it. There's like, for each of these, like modeling, you can spend a day, but you can also spend weeks if it's a complex character. Texturing could also take a week if you have like a complex character with UV mapping and things like this, even longer or short. It very much depends on what you're doing. Rigging definitely takes weeks very quickly. And then after you have all this preparation done in 3D, then you can do the actual animation. And if you're done with the animation, your scene isn't lit yet. You don't have the light. You still need to set up the rendering. Maybe play around with shaders even more until you're satisfied with how the look comes along. A minute of animation can take months. But yeah. Hey ActionToonz! Yeah, I try to stream more regularly, but it's always so much stress, so much stuff going on over the day. But I'm always surprising how relaxing it is. Like before I stream, I'm always like, and I need to talk during the stream, and I need to be entertaining, and I need to be. But I feel like, you know, as soon as we get into a conversation here in the chat, it's just like a chat in real life, you know. So I don't know. Somehow this also scratches a social itch for me, to talk with all of you wonderful people. Another tip from Sartak. First, get very good on paper. Learn to master drawing basic shapes from elbow and learn to draw straight lines without a ruler. Yeah, make smooth and you're good. Yeah, drawing smoothly, like that's already a challenge in its own, like the quality of your lines and things like this. Frenzy Techies wants to do a 2D larva animation. Yeah, I mean, the thing with 2D is that it feels faster because you can just sit down and do a final frame of your animation right now in like a minute, 2, 3, 10 minutes maybe. But the problem with 2D animation, you know, it still is a lot of stuff to animate, and you know, there could also be a product, pre-production, making a model sheet, thinking about it, this story and all this stuff, and yeah. Thank you, Hyde Matt. You convinced me that I want to learn more about animation. That's cool. Yeah. Thank you, Sarchak. Lorenzo, that's why I like the vector option in OpenToonz. You can correct all the ugliness. Yeah, you could just keep tweaking those lines. Janu asks, is there a way to connect with you personally? A very good way, if it's about animation and art, is on Patreon. We have a group mentoring call every month where you can hop in, ask me any questions. Right now we're only 2 other people there, and I can give you feedback for your art and animation, and yeah, if you have question about, you know, career choice and stuff like that, we can also discuss this in the group. I also have private mentoring that you can find on Animator Island. So let me bring up the links just a second. So on animatorisland.com/mentoring, I offer the private mentoring sessions. There's pre-recorded stuff where you can send me a question, an animation, a piece of work, and I will record my answer to you. And there's also a live mentoring session that you can book there. And yeah, and then there's Patreon and the group mentoring perk on Patreon. Check that out. It's really fun to see what you people are working on and to connect. And yeah, and because it's on Patreon, it also allows me to eventually hire other experts, other mentors to also chip in and give feedback to people. And I'm really excited about growing that. I think it's going to be a really nice workshop. But Janu, you also might want to check out the 2D animation class if you haven't. Like anyone here in the chat, if you're just starting with animation, I have a 2D class on animatorisland.com/2D with lots of videos that cover the basics. And yeah, maybe you might want to have a look at that. Sartak is inclined towards the raster-based lines. I mean, there are arguments for it. Like, there are really nice brushes there. You can do really cool things with really good pencil brushes and things like that. That's, yeah, but I totally get that. All right, there's a little bit more that I wanted to do today. I also wanted to do the animation of a bunny creature thing, because let's say we just have like a bunny blob here. Let's put on the alpha again. Now I'm missing the alpha channel here. So let's say we have like a little bunny creature and it's looking more like to the, or leaning more to the left. And it has those huge bunny ears. I closed the chat. That wasn't very smart. Is there a way we can make 2D animations without drawing all the scenes frame by frame? That's a question by Master Prog Coda. Yeah, if you're using a 2D rig, sometimes on this channel, I'm also working on in a software called Moho, and Moho is very good for doing like rigs, where you prepare your character and you prepare a lot of the moments and drawings that you're gonna do, and you just deform them into a way to, you know, generate all the frames that you need for the animation. So, you know, using like a deformation hierarchy substitution rig can help you to cut down animation time significantly. You know, in many TV productions, they also don't draw every single drawing frame by frame. They often have drawings prepared, rigs prepared that help them to do that workload. Okay. Now let's put the ears on a different layer. And Sartha has another suggestion. Learn to use 3D program side by side. Blender is a good option, it is. This will give you so many shortcuts to cut short your work and save time. I once created a 2D shader for 3D objects, which made 3D look 2D, and I used that only for making backgrounds. Yeah, making backgrounds in 3D can be a wonderful shortcut. So let's copy the ears to a new layer. There we go. Harmony is also a good option for rigging characters. Okay, so let's do the breakdown. Let's make a nice little turn. And you know, for breakdowns, doing a fast motion, always nice to have the eyes closed. That's a real cutie, this bunny here. And maybe it could already have one arm extending up while the other one is still pointing down. It's a nice little offset. The ears we're gonna worry about later. Let's put in some in-betweens. Let's have a nice ease here. Easing into the down position. I still like doing the frame by frame stuff though. Like it gives you like a unique way to feel out the lines and feel out the drawings. Like if I do too much rig animation, I start to miss drawing frame by frame. And after a while, after drawing frame by frame for too long, you start hating that and wishing back the rigs. Why do you use OpenToonz specifically for 2D animations, even though it requires a lot of time? Well, you know, it's also about the style that you get from rigs is different than the style that you get from frame-by-frame animation. Like, I find frame-by-frame animation has a lot more life to it. Let's do an overshoot. Let's have an overshoot. You know, there can be so much personality in like the lines, in good line work. Not saying that I'm particularly good at this, but I don't know, I just enjoy the, not fluidity, but like the life that you get in drawing something frame by frame by hand. And with rigs, you need to put a lot of work into the animation that it really becomes as lively as you want it to be. Like, rigged animation is still a lot of work. Sometimes I even feel like productions use it as a shortcut because they think they're gonna save so much time. But making good rigged animation is still a lot of work. I like our little bunny. What's your favorite animated movie? I have different favorite animated movies for different reasons. Like, I really like the, like, storytelling wise, like for me the Renaissance Disney movies are like the perfect movies almost. Like Lion King, Aladdin, like I just love how it all comes together. Fantastic animation, very good tight storytelling where everything is in just the right place. I feel like, you know, that's as far as a feature film animation thing goes, like the Renaissance Disney films are really, for me, as good as it gets. I like films if they have like a lot of vibe that goes into that direction. I love The Jungle Book for the animation quality. Like, there's so much that Milt Kahl did. Like Shere Khan, the tiger, amazing how that is animated. That scene where Shere Khan talks to Kaa, and they have like this little two mafia bosses talking to each other vibe, and Shere Khan is not threatening. He's just like, yeah, and what do you have there up in your coils? And he's just nice, but still menacing. That's one of my favorite scenes of all time. And Kaa tries to hypnotize him, and Shere Khan is like, no, I don't have time for that. It's such a delightful scene. I wish more scenes were like this. And then in Jungle Book 2, they have Shere Khan again, and he's almost doing exactly the same stuff to Kaa, but he's menacing and threatening and angry. Shere Khan doesn't need that. Shere Khan can just be, yeah, you know, I don't have time for this. Like, he does. I just love that in the Jungle Book so much. One of my favorite, another favorite that a lot of people don't know or think could be a favorite animation film. I like Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs for its silliness, its animation style. I don't know, it's just so much fun, so crazy, and I actually really legitimately like the writing in Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, because it's so, like, it has those message about belonging, about fitting in, about wanting to impress certain people that somehow is in there, in this silliness. Yeah, so that is some of my favorite animated movies of all time. How long have you animated for? Well, I started going to animation university college in 2009 or 10. So yeah, and I've already animated as a hobby before that. It's probably 15 years, something like that. But you know, professionally, I had my diploma in 2015. So 6-7 years that I've worked on professional projects. Sartek, I love that one scene in Hercules when the minion wears the Hercules merge shoes and Hades gets furious on him. I love Hades too. Like, the performance, the animation is all perfect in Hades. And he also has this, you know, this playful side. He is threatening, but there's so much more to the Hades character in Hercules. Yeah, Hercules is all, I feel like because I haven't seen it as a kid, like somehow that's one of the Disney movies that I didn't quite catch when I was a kid. So Hercules is not as deep in my nostalgia as the other movies, but yeah, it's also very solid, very cool one. Okay, so let's do the overlapping follow-through action really quick, because that is what I came for. Like, we have this drag here where the ears are just being dragged behind, and I love seeing how they are being pulled out of their onion skin. You know, they're just pulled down in that direction. That is how drag often works. And then we have this moment where they, like, here at the bottom they're attached and they really have to follow, but you still have the tips that are lagging behind. And maybe let's do it like this. Oh, actually that was the wrong ear. This is the ear. Yeah, I was wondering why is there not more drag. But yeah, I was tracing the wrong ear. Okay, so, and for a good overlap, this needs to settle later. This needs to come over. Let's see how that looks. Let's have them be a little bit stiffer so they could already come over when they're being forced to. Less liquid. White people happy. Oh my god, so cute. Yeah, it is pretty cute. I'm pretty proud of him. is it possible to study this program in a couple of days? As at school, teachers asked me to do the animation before the end of the summer, and I'm worried. Well, you know, it depends. If you're really animating for the first time, you probably have to battle more with like animation and how animation works than with the software. You know what? Let's focus on nicer shapes rather than the onion skin. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, if you're willing to learn and you're... The thing is, you know, for 2D animation, I always feel like there's a lot less to say about 2D animation than there is for 3D. Like, for 3D, there is all this, you know, rigging, texturing stuff that you also kind of need to know about and how certain things work. But for 2D animation, as soon as you have understood how the timeline works, how adding drawings work, I think it's fairly easier to get a result. Let's put it that way. And we have a 2D class about OpenToonz, so if you want to have a look at that, just look into the 2D class playlist on YouTube. Okay. All right. I think that is a satisfying test animation for follow through and overlap. Shall we in between this? Yeah, you said it well, Sartak. OpenToonz is an easy program, but animation is hard. Yeah, couldn't have said it better myself. The thing with animation, you know, depending on what you'd want to do, there's like a lot of things about body mechanics, how weight is shifted, and acting and cinematography. How do you present your animation, what camera angle and stuff like this. But you know, just get started. There's only one way to find out. There's only one way to get going, which is just starting. Download the program, try a couple of simple animations. We just had a couple days ago, weeks ago, we had a beginner exercise that I recommend every beginner should take. Animating a ball floating along an arc. That's a perfect exercise to start if you want to start in animation. Also on our YouTube channel right now. Should I learn animation as a career or should I keep it a hobby? Well, that is very, that depends on you individually, and what you're looking for in life and what kind of things you want to work on and you want to do with your life. If there's like, you know, projects and studios where you're like, I want to do something like this, then, you know, animation could be a good career choice for you. If you're like, oh my god, I absolutely have to work on something like a Disney film or like a TV series that I like, and that drives you and is what you want to do, then doing it as a career might be a good option. Animation is not the easiest career for a number of reasons. It is not the hardest work in the world. There is work that is harder than animation, but it is still, it's a creative job, and creativity is draining in your mental energy, and it's also very time consuming, as we talked about it multiple times during the live stream. So there are jobs where at 5 o'clock you're done with your job and you go home and be at home with your family and pets and kids or whatever. Animation is or tends not to be the job where this is possible. Animation tends to be a job where there's a lot of overtime, tends to be where there's a lot of crunch time, and that is also the reason why some people quit doing animation, because it can be very demanding, it can be very, very tough for not the most amount of money that you can do. I kinda do like a middle kind of path right now. I am working as a front-end web designer somewhere 3 days a week, and I only do the projects that I have fun doing in the other 2 days of my week. So that is the path that I'm currently going for my life, because I felt like I've been doing a lot of like explainer videos for companies. It's like, this is Bob. Bob has a problem with his car. If Bob had car insurance, and that just wasn't what I wanted to do with animation. So I wouldn't say that animation now is my hobby. I still do, like a year ago, 2 years ago, I did a big animation supervision job for a game. But I don't know. There are easier ways to make money, and if you just want to do fun projects, then you might enjoy it more as a hobby. You know, getting financially stable with something else and then doing animation as a fun hobby might be the way to go. Like there are many different approaches. There are many different reasons for different things. Let's see what the people say in the chat. Shrisha says, coming from a board engineer and a design creative aspirant. Yeah, I mean, this might be perfect for like a combination thing. You know, maybe you could, I don't know what your ambitions are. If you say like, I want to do my own films, then I would stay in the engineering job and work on your own things on the side, publish them to YouTube, publish them to Instagram, live stream, see if it's picking up, make a cartoon series, I don't know, start stuff that is fun to you, and if that picks up, you can quit your day job and do animation full time. If you're like, hey, I want to work on a TV production or a feature film, then go to animation school, start training all the time and apply to animation jobs, and then you can do it as a full-time career. What else is going on in the chat? Also, OpenToonz is only developed by Studio Ghibli. Thought it's open source. Maybe one day we'll get a dev or community support for it. OpenToonz is open source. What do you mean? I don't think OpenToonz is only developed by Studio Ghibli. I think it's not even used at Studio Ghibli anymore. They're using different stuff now. No, there's a big community working on it. Or what do you mean? Yeah, Studio Ghibli still using OpenToonz? I thought the whole thing with OpenToonz was because the software developer who made it quit selling it professionally or something like this, or went to an entirely different code base, and they made the old code base open source so people could work on it. Like that was a story that I heard somewhere. I'm not sure how correct it is. And I think Studio Ghibli only used OpenToonz, or the base of OpenToonz, for scanning and coloring the scans, cleanup. The more vanilla version of OpenToonz I haven't tried. I've worked with Tahoma a couple of times. They have some nice additions to the software there. Yeah, effects and coloring. That's what I thought. Cool. What is your favorite animation software? A question by I'm David Animation. The thing is, I do have favorite animation software for different purposes. Like if I'm doing rigged animations, I'm now preferring Moho. If I'm doing frame by frame vector animation, I use Harmony, or you know, depending on the budget, if I have to work on for free, I use OpenToonz. I would have a second look at Krita again if I had like demanding brushes or cool brushes that I wanted to work with. I don't know. So I don't really have. Oh, for text animation, I use After Effects. Oh, you guys can't see what I'm drawing. So I don't know. It depends on what I'm supposed to do. Like Blender I would use if I have like 3D backgrounds mixed with 2D characters. Like that would be definitely a thing that I would have a look at. Yeah. You're working in animation or just as a hobby? Well, as I said, right now I have a project on the side, or main job, quote unquote, where I do front-end design for web stuff. But yeah, I do work on professional projects too. I am for hire as an animator, so in that sense I'm really still working on it. Alright. Yeah, and I have been working in game studios, and I have worked on a television series called Patchwork Pals for preschool, really fun series. Ooh, this onion skin is getting a bit confusing. Let's just focus on the previous drawing. I'm missing a couple frames here. I really want to have an ease to the overshoot. Yeah. Like this, where it's like shooting up. How often do you do these videos? Like live streams? I mean, I hope to do live streams every week, at least once a week on Fridays or Thursdays, usually. And other than that, I try to make a new YouTube video every 2 weeks, a recorded YouTube video. But yeah, I haven't been so good at the regular live stream game as I wanna be. But I hope I can be more frequent with that, because I really enjoy chatting with you guys. King Tomato TV, what graphic tablet do you use? I use a Cintiq 24 HD. Ah, Sartak answered. I'm a freelance in animation. I'm working on a website as well where I can provide some really neat, absolute free courses for general artists. Really cool, okay. Can you tell us what your website is? Without posting a link, because I think the bot is gonna censor the link. Ah, thank you. These live streams from you are a really good thing to watch while working. Thank you, Sartak. Yeah, I also, right now I try to always live stream when I work on something that I can live stream, but that was one of my favorite things to do when I was just working, to listen to other people's live streams and see what they are working on, and you know, and then occasionally they would do a thing where you're like, oh my god, that's a really cool trick, I need to do it like that too. Like, it's a perfect mix from just something in the background, but then also there's stuff that you can learn from it. Yeah, and podcasts and stuff like this are very good for the tedious times that we sometimes go through. Oh my, this is gonna look nice. Oh, thank you, new subscriber. Welcome, welcome. Okay, let's also animate the floppy ears flopping about. It's like a slight, or rather quite big ease here. Let's make them a little smaller here. 2 already. And there we go into the curve. It's kind of staying in place there. Ooh, and here we have a nice extreme. Oh, I like that one. OpenToonz, stop saving. I mean, no, do save. Because sometimes you crash and then I cry. So please save. Now, I'm gonna actually do have it flip over this time. I think now that we have the in-betweens, I think we can actually do it to have it be like whoop, flop over at least one of them. Let's see how it looks so far. Whoop. This is gonna be nice. Ah, thank you, Soda Pop. Soda Pop says not only are you a good animator and teacher, you're a nice person, which is hard to find lately on YouTube. I will support your Patreon soon. Oh my god, that's amazing. That's great to hear. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I try to be all of these things in a good enough way. But yeah, and you know, if there's always anything that I can do better on the channel or any suggestions, I'm always open for that. I'm always sad that I can't do all of the wonderful things that you guys suggest, because you know, there is only so many hours in the day. But oh boy, it's really, you know, it's also that I have the best community. That also helps me a lot. Yeah. Pixelated. Sure, try live streaming too. Like, I would recommend it to anyone. Like, it's it kind of also keeps you really alert, because you know, you're talking at the same time, you're trying to explain what you're doing, and that is always good for learning. That is always good for building your own skills, you know. So, you know, I would recommend for most artists, even if you're shy, especially if you're shy, because this is like this weird in-between state. I mean, yeah, you're talking to a lot of people, kinda. But at the same time, you know, you can delete live streams later if you feel like they weren't good. You can just record YouTube videos if you want. You can, I don't know, and after a while you will see that most of the time the chat is super positive, especially in, I feel like, you know, haters come later. If a community grows, then sooner or later you will get bad comments. But in the beginning, like people on Twitch and people on YouTube Live, they're so supportive and curious and ask you about stuff, you know, and sometimes then you think to yourself like, oh, I never thought about this like this, or like it really broadens the horizon to connect with you know, potentially people from all over the world. Because that is the cool thing about live streaming. That turns the world into a very small village. All right. I should have taken some of my own advice and should have planned this animation better. I'm a bit noodling around, just trying out different things. Which, you know, sometimes is okay to do. And you know, that's the thing with the live streams. I feel like they're, of course, not as sharp as when I like pre-record a tutorial, but it's showing the reality, you know. Even a professional animator is sometimes just trying stuff. Yeah, I think this works as an example. Here, I think we could do something to tie things together, because we already have so much. Like here, doing like a more of a classic breakdown. I was drawing on the wrong one. That's the thing with straight ahead animation, you know? After a while, then you're just correcting far too many things that you would have done better if you planned. But on the other hand side, I think it gave us some very nice and fluent frames for the bunny. Okay, let's try it. Let's see how that works. Alt 9 to see all of it. Yeah, better. And this could be smoother. Okay. It doesn't have the punch that I wanted it to have, but I think it gets the point across. These are a bit too weak. I keep drawing. in the wrong spot. So yeah, if you want to know how to make this better, watch my tutorial that is coming out hopefully tomorrow about how to correctly plan straight ahead or pose to pose, follow through and drag and overlap animation, because this is not how you do it. You know what? Let's try to do it the correct way. Paste. Buff. All right. So we have the first half of the ears, and then it starts moving. It goes down slightly like this. Points in the direction where it comes from like this. Still pointing there. Maybe overshooting a bit here. And then it stays down. I think this is the mistake that I made. It has to stay down. Has to stay down even longer. Come up. Let's do an ease to make it super fun. Break down. Ease. Ease. And tiny little bit of an ease. Alright, that is the first half of the ears. Yes. That is much better, isn't it? You know what? Let's have the ears shoot a little further. There, there. Okay. And now let's see about that second segment of the ear. Let's maybe do it like this. Of course, we are and now have this one flip over as far as it will. This one could already turn back. Oh, and this is still tilted back. Very nice. Breakdown. ease. All right, let's see how that looks. Yeah, that's much better, isn't it? So this is how you do it. This is how you frickin' plan your animation. This is what I should have done a while ago. King Tomato, with those ears, it's not a bunny anymore. It's a cute alien pet. Indeed. Oh, Soda Pop. Have you ever tried Magma Studio, the browser-based art collaboration platform where you can draw simultaneously with students or friends? No, I have not. I have heard about it. And I think, you know, like a Google Docs for painting, that's a really great idea. I love the concept behind it. I definitely need to use it for something. And who knows, maybe we can do that in the community too. Like, I really wanted to look into what, like, art games or something we could maybe one day play on stream and stuff. I really want to research that. So if anybody has some suggestions for cool things that we could do together on stream, I think I would really enjoy doing something like that. Alright, and now all we have to do is follow our lines. I'm realizing that I'm talking less because I'm getting a bit tired. Magma Studios. It's cool because it's free and has a layer system with opacity, and it's a clip studio in the way it works. That sounds good. Ooh, Dark Knight. When I use the eraser tool in OpenToonz on my laptop, it lags or even crashes. Oh my. There is like an OpenToonz GitHub where you can ask these things, or actually, like, I think they have a forum now where they prefer getting like the questions and bug reports. I think you should ask there and give them the specs of your laptop. And for laptops, it's even more difficult to like find the right drivers. Like, update your graphic driver, make sure that in some laptops you can change if it's using the software on the graphic card or if it's using the software on the standard CPU. So make sure that you have that set up correctly. And yeah, other than that, I think you might have to consult with the developers. Okay. I was working very fast there in the end. Not sure how. Yeah. Not sure how it's gonna look. But yeah, I think this is a lot better. It's good that we tried it again. Okay. I think that's a good yeah, NVIDIA GPU soda pop. That's a really important tip. Like, if you have an NVIDIA GPU on your laptop, make sure that OpenToonz is using that. And in fact, you know, other 3D, 2D animation software, all of it, that could really, really help. Or the Morvena version. Yeah, it could be worth a try. Okay, I think we're gonna leave it with the animation that I have done here. It's not perfect, but I think it's a good demonstration of what you could do with overlap and follow through. And yeah, thank you everyone for watching, for being with me on stream tonight. I hope to see you again on the channel, and keep your eyes open for the tutorial that is coming out soon about this topic, using this bunny animation and using the other animation that we've done. Yeah, so one more time, the information that we have a Patreon if you want to support us to make more tutorials, and there's also a group mentoring tier on Patreon. If you want me to give you feedback about your projects, could be anything art and animation related, it could be character design, could be an animation, could be a story idea, I would love to help you out with that and give you tips on how to improve it and how to improve your skills. And yeah, that's the group mentoring on Patreon. You can find more information about that, if this is gonna work, here on animatorisland.com/group mentoring. And I'm excited to seeing what you're working on and helping you to improve it. Yeah. Thank you all so very much for watching. It was a very fun live stream. It was a lot of fun talking with you in the chat, and we had a lot of cool topics. How tedious animation is, and favorite animation films and stuff like that. I'm looking forward to continuing the conversation soon in another live stream, hopefully weekly. I'm trying to do that. Yeah, Dark Knight, why you don't have the YouTube join button? Yeah, I want to do that too, I think, but I'm kind of like, I don't know, do I offer the same stuff that I offer on Patreon, also on YouTube membership? And if we have YouTube membership, I also want to have cool emojis, because, you know, you need cool emojis if you offer a YouTube membership. But I'm looking into that, and yeah. I'm a bit tired now somehow. Oh, Dominic, thank you for joining. You can stay here, I'm going now. But yeah, I'll hopefully be streaming again next week, and hopefully releasing that video tomorrow about follow through, overlap, and drag. We'll see. Yeah. Looking forward to seeing you again. Thank you so much for joining me today, and hope to see you again soon. Bye bye.